It's not easy being a Democrat these days. They're outnumbered on just about every front, and many of their favorite programs are under assault. So what should they do? Make a principled but doomed fight, or stomach some unsavory decisions in hopes of salvaging something later? Overnight, Senate Democrats maintained a 24-hour floor fight in hopes of derailing the nomination of Betsy DeVos as Secretary of Education. Leading the charge was Senator Elizabeth Warren, as you know, one of the party's leading progressives.
The Republican leadership wants DeVos, and they are willing to ignore her hostility to public schools, willing to ignore her indifference to laws that protect special needs kids, willing to ignore the giant ethical cloud that hangs over her.
The campaign against DeVos was as close as the Democrats have come to a win. For the first time ever, a vice president had to cast a tie-breaking vote for a cabinet nominee. But even if this fight can be rationalized as some sort of a moral crusade, the question is this: are the Democrats hurting themselves more in the court of public opinion when they do things like this? Last week, they faced criticism for boycotting hearings on other cabinet appointees, and there's potential backlash if the Democrats try to filibuster the nomination of Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court. A CNN poll found 49% of Americans would like to see him confirmed. Only 36% oppose his nomination. Today on Boston Public Radio, Congressman Stephen Lynch said he thinks Republican unity is soft.
You know, there's a lot of wincing going on in the Republican caucus with some of these tweets and antics and executive orders, and I think he's going to wear on some of the members there.
So what should the Democrats be doing in the face of all this adversity? Joining me are former Secretary of Public Safety Andrew Cabral. Hi, Andrew. Nice to see you. Former aide to Senator Ted Kennedy and CEO of the 2013 Inaugural Committee, Steve Kerrigan. Hey, Steve. Former State Treasurer and candidate for Governor, Shannon O'Brien. And hello to you. So, Andrew, starting with you, John King from CNN was on the radio with us today. And after this DeVos vote, he said people like Chuck Schumer, other leading Democrats, are saying this is good news. We proved we can stay united. It was united. I said, well, the flip side is if you can't defeat what you consider to be the worst of the 21 cabinet nominees, why should the Democrats think they can stop anything? Who was right in that discussion?
Clearly you were wrong. I don't think there's much question about that. If you don't have the numbers, you don't have the numbers. But this is so far beyond anything else that we've seen in terms of partisanship before that it's really the principle of the thing and beyond the principle of the thing. The necessity of defending democracy and defending government. That's actually what's at risk. This isn't just about whether or not a single nominee gets through or doesn't. This is about people who are uniquely and spectacularly unqualified for the jobs that they're being voted on, who will literally dismantle the way government works.
So what is the Democratic strategy on rolling back Dodd-Frank to protect consumers, the gutting of Obamacare, Neil Gorsuch's nomination, the travel ban? I mean, Steve Lynch seemed to be saying there that our best hope is the Republicans implode, and then maybe that is pretty much what he said.
And I think
that's a hell of a strategy for the Democrats.
Well, I don't know if we're the Democratic Party, so whether we have a united strategy is probably in doubt. But the way in which they're going about it, I think, is the drastic difference between the parties. A few years ago, you heard Mitch McConnell saying the best thing we can do politically is to shut down Barack Obama. They said last year, before Justice Scalia had even left his body had left the place, he had passed away, that they would not confirm a justice. All our party is saying is that we need to make sure we stand up for our principles, our values, our Constitution, and our country. And what they're doing is they've got folks out there in the grassroots communities going to congressmen's offices, calling them, sending them letters. We've got to go back to our grassroots supporters because we ignored, frankly, a big swath of them.
Well, a lot of those grassroots supporters, by the way, think you should just say no to everything, exactly as the Republicans did. You may be one of them. And by the way, Elizabeth Warren got excoriated by some on the left in your party for having voted for Ben Carson. So what's the strategy? I mean, keep in mind, last year, Democrats are all proud they do a sit-in on gun control. And then what do? They go home for vacation. That's a sit-in? I mean, look at the look on your face. So what is the strategy for this coming year?
I think that the strategy has to be to continue to speak to the American public. We don't have the numbers in the House or the Senate, but I think that everyone, including President Trump and a lot of congressmen, and I think that that's what Congressman Lynch is talking about. People out there are watching. They're shocked at what the president is doing. They're shocked at some of these nominees. And I don't think that they bought a bill of goods in Trump, and I think that they're realizing that they have buyer's remorse.
But I'm sorry.
But the more we get to talk about it, the more that the Democratic Party gets to expose it, even if they can't win these votes, I think it's important. But not being obstructionist. I think that could hurt the Democratic Party.
But you said a minute ago they got sold a bill of goods. Isn't part of the problem with the Democratic message? We have a lot of Trump voters that call our show saying all those Democrats think we're dopes. Not just Donald Trump, but we who voted for him are dopes. And isn't that sort of what you're saying? That the public wasn't smart enough to understand it?
And this is one of the things. When you have Kellyanne Conway saying we are not going to release Donald Trump's taxes, even though in the campaign he said he would. I'm telling you, people aren't stupid. They believed him. And now, after the fact, when he's not telling the truth, I think that those people are not stupid. They were duped.
Well, the reason they're not focused on the taxes, let's be fair, is because they're focused on the Bowling Green massacre. Now, before we get to you, I want you to listen to the strategy according to a veteran member of the Democratic Party in Congress. Here's Maxine Waters.
I have not called for the impeachment yet. He's doing it himself. I think that he is leading himself into that kind of position where folks will begin to ask, what are we going to do? And the answer is going to be, eventually, we've got to do something about him.
You think, based on what you said to us on the radio the other day, she should remove the word eventually. You think he should be impeached now?
Right.
Based on what?
He's in violation of the Emoluments Clause. He's both landlord and tenant in a federally owned building.
The hotel.
DC, right. And I think actually all it would take would be just a little bit of investigation from any one of these committees. I have my hopes pinned on the Inspector General to reveal what Congress clearly knows, what Maxine Waters and John Lewis have alluded to about his ties to Russia.
Is that helpful to hear a leading Democrat say, I think the best strategy is to impeach the guy?
Well, I mean, I think it can't be the only strategy, but it is something.
It's a pretty dramatic strategy.
But all of those are issues that deserve an airing. By the way, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, everyone was under investigation for 8 or 16 years, if you count the Clintons back 8 years ago. What the sheriff is saying, what others are saying, is that we need to look into what has happened. I totally agree with what she is saying. I think the Democratic Party needs to be not just a one-track party, though. We have to be doing what we did on the Hill last night and this morning, which is focus on education, focus on the issues that we care about and the values and principles of our party, and reach out to our grassroots supporters to talk about what we need to accomplish or at least push Republicans.
You want to make it unanimous? Is impeachment something they should be talking about?
We're only 2 weeks in, and while I don't disagree with the law, and I do think that you have enough leading constitutional speakers who are telling you he may well be in violation of the Constitution with, with the hotel and with other business.
Impeach him over this?
I think that it's a little early to be calling for impeachment. However, what I do believe that the Democrats need to do is they need to, first of all, make sure that we have some leadership that is getting a cogent message about what it is we're going to fight for. There's almost so much going on every single day within the Trump White House that it's hard to have that sort of cogent message. The Democrats have to work hard.
That's part of the strategy, isn't it?
That is part of the strategy. And the Democrats have to work to sift through and to synthesize what that message is going to be.
You want to file the bill of particulars right now?
I wouldn't have a problem with that. And when you say, you think that that's enough, keep in mind what Bill Clinton was impeached over, lying about an affair, which had nothing to do with anything. I'm at the point where I cannot fathom how, given the amount that we already know about Donald Trump and how unprecedented practically every single thing he does is, and the fact that every single day he lies, if he's talking, he's lying. I don't know why people still feel as though, well, maybe we should take a step back and maybe we should give this person a chance. People tell you who they are, believe them. You have to believe them. He is actually a threat to this republic, and if we let it go too long, we won't be able to recover from it.
I just want to get back to a piece Shannon said. I'm a huge believer and always have. Message is hugely important. You touch on it. Messenger is equally. You can have the best message in the world if you don't have the right The messengers, as of the moment, are a woman from San Francisco and a man from Brooklyn. Not exactly the Rust Belt. Right. Probably two of the most liberal enclaves in America. Are they the right faces of the Democratic Party, Schumer and Pelosi?
I will say, look, and I Leader Pelosi's been a great leader in
Okay,
Congress.
I know.
She's
I
all
love her,
I'll
and I
insert
love her.
obligatory
What's the
comments
answer to
about
the
her.
question?
I think we do need a shakeup in our leadership in Congress and in the party. I mean, we've got a couple of great candidates running for DNC chair, which will help shape our message. Right now, remember, we don't really have a full-time chair. We've got Tom Perez, who was Secretary of Labor, who's a Latino organizer, and Pete Buttigieg, who is a 32-year-old Afghanistan war veteran who's gay, who's mayor of South Bend. I think if we start talking to the folks that elect him in elections, then I think we can start getting right messengers.
How about leaders? You brought up the issue. Are these the right leaders? He doesn't think so.
Well, I do think
Even though he has great things to say about it.
And I was going to say, I do think that we need to move quickly on the leader of the Democratic Party, and I think it's really important. But again, I think that in Congress, they have to pick their fights. And one of the things that is a little troubling to me is to see the blowback that Elizabeth Warren is getting. The emails that I get or the posts that I see on Facebook from my Democratic friends who think that the Democrats should just try to stop every single nomination, even though they don't have the numbers. I think that messaging is not good for the Democratic Party, that they have to pick and choose those most egregious cases. I mean, just today, one more nominee, has had a nanny, that was illegally here or a housekeeper who was illegally here in the country. Bill Clinton had two people whose nominations were thrown out. You have someone who may have committed insider trading. Another one who lied in his hearing when he said that his bank didn't do robo signing. And then three nominees who've all had people that they were paying illegally.
A majority of people in Massachusetts said in that BUR poll the other day that Elizabeth Warren doesn't deserve re-election. Should be somebody else. Finish up on leaders.
2 quick points.
Sure.
Does it make a difference who the messenger is to tell you that you probably shouldn't be supporting the person who took away your health care?
What is the answer to your own question? Do you think?
I don't think the messenger matters. When your health care gets taken, when rules get changed so that your grandmother who's made her investments, the person who's made those investments does not have to look out for her best interests, all of the things that are happening to the very people that he supported, that he lied to and said he was one of them, and the Goldman Sachs wave that's helping him make these changes, who cares who the messenger is? Look at what's happening to you and make decisions in your own best interest.
We got to go. Andrea, it's nice to see you. You as well, Steve.
Steve.
Shannon, thanks.
Thank you.
Good to see all three of you.